Hello everybody, welcome back. I think last time that we all got together we were talking about Star Wars. No, but wouldn't that be cool if we had been talking about Star Wars? We are talking about when concepts, like when will Jason release his next video talking about when concepts? Well, the answer is now, today, we're here. So let's get started right away. Last week, we were not talking about Star Wars. We were talking about how to incorporate numbers with the signs for different time units. So whether it was seconds or minutes or hours or days or weeks or whatever, we kind of covered everything, discussed all finished, is how they would say in ASL. So, wow, my head gets really big when I move in. Yeah, it's the end of the day and I'm feeling a little bit silly. We need to move on to the next thing, which is going to be talking about how we can incorporate future and past in our time, sign, units, blah, blah, blah. So, for example, if we're talking about seconds, how would we say wait, 5 seconds, or wait 2 minutes, or wait 10 days. We want to incorporate either the future or something that happened in the past. We can talk about that too. So for future, some of them are pretty simple. I have to sneeze. I'm going to do it right on the video, I think. No. It's gone. Thank you, God. Anyway, this is going to be an interesting video today. You can trust me on that. We talked about how we use this hand over the shoulder, kind of throw back and bend over your shoulder for past, or the same hand shape but not bent, but just like karate chop straight, moving past your ear and forward for future or past. That all by itself, or the sign for later, which we also talked about, will be included in some of these signs to show if you're talking about time units later in the future or time units in the past. So for seconds, we would say, pretty basic, we would say 5 seconds in the future, or we would say 5 seconds in the past. Okay, not too difficult. Same with minutes. And here we can, with seconds, where we did this and we said seconds, we can incorporate the numbers too, right? Like we learned last week, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes in the future, or 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes in the past. Pretty easy to do. Just add future or add past for those ones. It'll be the same for hours. You could say 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours in the future, or later, or in the past. Okay, pretty easy. Let's see, days is going to be more of the same. So you're seeing a pretty consistent rule. There's some strange things that are about to pop up, but right now, until we get through days, it's pretty consistent and pretty easy. You could say 1 day, 2 days, 3 days later, or 3 days from now in the future, or we could say 3 days before, 3 days ago, kind of as an English translation for that. 3 days ago. All right, so not too hard so far, right? Pretty simple. 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. If we're saying 1 day ago, we would probably just sign yesterday or yesterday. Okay, yesterday. Or if it's 1 day later, 1 day in the future, that would be tomorrow. Okay. All right. Here is where things start to get a little bit crazy. They change a lot, and it's kind of nuts. But it's also cool at the same time. I really want you to kind of focus on how kind of amazing ASL can be for kind of incorporating or including all these concepts and all making them like part of one sign that has a certain motion or is modified. It's really cool. So when we're talking about weeks, you can really do a lot with incorporating the numbers, and you can incorporate the future or the past with the sign itself. So we've talked about 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, all of that. But we've not yet talked about how you can say this sign here can go out, swoop forward next week. You can go 2 weeks in the future, or 3 weeks in the future, or 4 weeks in the future, or 5 weeks. Using that sign, it's really flexible. Also, you can show the past with this same sign. We're just going to change the movement so it's not going forward. Instead, it's going to go back behind us. So, we've got our 1 week, and it's going to go whoop, behind 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'm noticing, because I'm kind of getting ready for my hand to go over my shoulder, when normally I would sign 1 week down like this, or 2 weeks down, I'm starting with the back of my hand more to get ready for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I've modified the sign a little bit. This one's easy because your hand can stay with this part down on the palm of your hand for next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because the hand shape, you don't have to twist it to keep going forward. It's already kind of pointing in the right direction. So that's good. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the future. Then same thing, but I'm finding that I turn my hand over so that it's ready to go over my shoulder, so I don't have to do this and then twist it, which looks kind of weird 1 week ago. 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, I'm just doing the numbers on my hands is all. Okay, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Okay, and you can keep doing that. You can do 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, and then you have to stop. Because once it changes to 10, then you have to say 10 weeks ago. It's just kind of like it's not slang, but it's like a shorthand, kind of an abbreviated way of how we can write things with an abbreviation. We can also sign them as kind of an abbreviated way, and that's really what this is. It's just for ease of communication and clarity. Concepts all just like all kind of together, which is really pretty cool when you think about it. Okay, months. I actually had to go and do some research because I myself, I know how I sign. I didn't know I didn't know how to offer the same flexibility with month. Really, I think it's best, and you're going to be safest if you stick with the sign for month. Remember this top knuckle over the back of this nail going down, month. If you do it in circles every month, okay, if you start and make a big, kind of like with your body, whole body moving forward, it means like next month, all right? And then you can sign last month. Last month, you really, again, it's nothing fancy. You would just say month before or before month, and past month, past month. You can also say next, the sign for next. Starts like this. It's those two flat hands, thumbs out, and they're kind of bent a little bit. Your back of your hand, whatever that part of your hand is called, that part out, and this hand kind of leapfrogs over, and same hand shape, leapfrogs over the other hand and ends up ahead. Next. Say next month. You could also say next week, and that's another safe way to do it, but if ASL is going to be so cool, take advantage of it. It's really a beautiful language, so I would do next week. I would do next month, because I think that, you're showing your whole body is kind of moving forward in the future. Next month. It's pretty cool. But for like last month, I would just sign last month. And you can incorporate the numbers still with this sign. So you could say, 2 months ago. For 2 months in the future, I would say 2 months in the future. Okay? So really, week is the one that kind of changes the rules and decides that it wants to be cool on its own and do its own thing. So, but with month, you want to be careful. You want to say, it's a next month, or you can use the sign that I think is kind of more performance sign and very clear to me. not going forward, like next month. Not now, but next month we'll go, okay? Or a month before, 2 months before, 3 months before, all right? For year, again, you can say we did 1 year, we did 2 years, we used the numbers, and then went around and changed back into the fists like this. We're going to do these fists again right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to start with the fist, the right fist hitting on the left fist. It sounds like it's going to ask him out on a date. And we're going to bounce forward with a number. Next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And beyond that, I have to be honest, it's hard for me as a non-native signer to really understand. I'm going to have to do some more research and clarify for myself. Yes, I know you can do next year, 2 years, 3 years. As it goes on, maybe you can do 4 years and 5 years. It feels awkward to me. My own experience, if it's going to be more than 3 years, I tend to sign, like 4 years later or 5 years later. It's the same with the past. I can do the same thing. I can bounce off this, bounce this fist off the other fist, and bounce back with a 1. So on my shoulder, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You probably can do 4 and 5 with the same, kind of like following the same rule, but I don't feel confident about it. So I know that you'll be safe if you stick with next year, 2 years, 3 years, that's all good. Last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm not getting this on camera very well for you. Let's see how I can do this better. Let's start with the future ones again, okay? Next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. All I'm doing is hitting the fist and then moving forward and changing into the number. Next year, 2 years in the future, 3 years in the future. Hope that's clear. Then I know why, just because you can see both sides of me. I will turn around and I'll do the other way. It's like last year, 2 years ago. See that? 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Then beyond that, my advice for right now would say 4 years in the future, or 4 years before. It's just as clear, and it may not be as fancy in terms of following sign language technique, or maybe my feeling awkward doing more than 3 is actually correct. I will do more research, but you're going to be safe following that as kind of a rule for now. And then as you become a more advanced signer, hopefully you'll have a more advanced teacher, because I'm learning as we go along too. So that was kind of the basics that I wanted to do for telling, like next week, 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago, 2 days in the future, 2 days later, how you can incorporate all those signs to communicate a complete time, when concept. You're going to be really, really good at modeling this language for your child now. Think of all the ways every day you can use this. You can take advantage of these signs at home. Again, I want to advise you that deaf children don't watch someone signing a question and just understand the language naturally. It's just like hearing children. They have to be exposed to it again and again and again, and they have to see not only the modeled language, but kind of like the response to that language too. So over time, they will see that when you say, wait 2 minutes, and if you're being a good parent, you're really following what you say you will do, then you can show them on the time, on the clock up there, it's 2 minutes, wait, and when 2 minutes is up, shift your focus and pay attention to the child so they really understand, oh, I was waiting and it went around two times at 2 minutes, I understand now. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes really a commitment to keep going and continue modeling the language. Again, you can use that ASL rhetorical question to say, we're going to go to the store. When? We're going to go tomorrow. Or we're going to go to Disneyland. When? 2 weeks from now. Okay? So you're answering yourself, and that's another really, really good way to model language for the children. So hoping that all this information is helping your life maybe go a little more smoothly and helping you to feel really, really powerful, to be able to really show and model language for your deaf and hard of hearing child the same way that a hearing parent does for their hearing child. So hopefully, communicate with me. Let me know, give me feedback. Is this meeting your needs? So the last thing today is I wanted to show you the months. It's pretty simple. They're just finger spelled. There's a way you can sign them that's more of a C sign, like a signing exact English sign. And we use C signs in my classroom, and I think they're important and they're good, and I don't want to put down someone who's learning C or using C signs. My focus is going to be on more ASL, how a deaf adult will probably use signs in the real world out there, and hopefully, help you to be more ready to be a part of that. It's pretty simple, and this is good fingerspelling practice for you too. So I'm going to spell the months, how they are shown at ASL. This is information that I kind of borrowed from the Life Print webpage. They showed the best way to abbreviate the spelling for each month. So we have J-A-N for January. Next is F-E-B for February. Next one, because it's just with the M, there are a few months that could be confused, so we're going to spell the whole name of the month. March. M, see my M is kind of messy today. M-A-R-C-H, March. Next, April. A-P-R-I-L, April. Next, I'm going to turn my voice off. Okay, see how you do. Okay, May. Next one is June. Next one is July. Next one is August. You see, just like on a calendar, A-U-G, August. Next one, September. October. November. And finally, you guessed it, December. When you see deaf people out in the world signing all these signs and all this finger spelling, they're going to go pretty fast. And so these are good little short things for you to practice on as you become more fluent in finger spelling yourself. And also, really notice that finger spelling is not only to fill in the blanks for words that you don't know the sign for. Sometimes in ASL, the finger spelling is the word. And it's a really, really important part of ASL. So continue practicing your finger spelling. Finger spell the names of everything for your child. The names of people in your family, the names of foods that are favorite foods. Maybe the specific food itself does not have a sign but has a name, like a label on the box. Spell it, spell it, spell it, spell it. So at normal speed, what you will see is Jan. It's pretty fast. January or February or March or April. April is the whole one. Sorry, April. May, June, July. You see how it's pretty fast? So if you're really, really slow right now, which is normal as you're starting to learn and you're trying to progress and you're trying to get control of your hands, which sometimes don't follow your directions or they don't do what you're telling them to do, I understand all of that. As a hearing person who learned sign language later in my life myself, it's a struggle. So I understand. But you want to practice. You want to improve your fluency. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You're going to see people signing that fast. That's kind of what's going to be expected. These are short little bites. So please take advantage of them. Use them for short fingerspelling practice, easy words. Practice the months. really easy while you're even driving to work. Pay attention, keep your eyes focused on the road. At the same time, you can practice January, February. Sorry, see, I need practice too. February, March, April, May, June, July, and you can still drive at the same time. So anyway, I think that's most of the basics. Next week, it should be kind of a catch-up and kind of anything I can see that I left out, I will include in that next lesson. And then we're going to start, there's going to be a big shift. We've talked about what and who and when. And we're going to start to talk, we're going to have a little break before the next question word lesson. It's going to focus on behavior. Okay. As a teacher, behavior it's had a huge impact on my career, on my work as a teacher of deaf and hard of hearing kids. And it's a complicated topic. I expect, since I myself am a parent, that you won't want me to show up here and be lecturing you on how you should raise your deaf and hard of hearing child. But I have a lot of experience in how you can respond to and how you can manage behaviors that come up with your deaf or hard of hearing child. And I have some advice. So I will share my experiences with you, and we'll see if maybe there's something positive that I can give to you, something positive that I can maybe influence your thinking about how you're taking care of your child as a parent and how you're responding to their needs, and how communication is probably the most important part of behavior management at home. So anyway, that's food for thought next time. And I am done. I'm going to finish talking at you. I will see you next time. Keep up the hard work. Continue practicing. I am so proud of all of you for sticking with the program. I'm finally starting to get some good feedback. Let me know what you need. That's why I'm here, and I want to support you. More power to you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.